Almost Shabbat Shalom. Hello, hello, hello. Look at this beautiful place. Look at this place of creation. Here we can really let go of things and concentrate on what is important. Why? Because in a place like this, in a place where this is nature, a hand of man never, obviously touched it, but we can see here nature is growing. There are no buildings, there is no construction, there is no any of those things that really take us away from the important things. And this is really part of the portion today, and part of the theme that is throughout this week's, that adds up. It's cumulative. So everything that we talk about, everything that we share, whether we share it here, we share it online. I'm going to move here every so often, just because of the sun. So I'll move now here. Oh, there we go. So everything is coming into place when we are away from our distractions. I have here a bunch of cards. I'm going to talk about those in a second. It's great to be here every Friday. You know, every Friday before I come out, I don't know where I'm going to go. It's a new discovery, it's a new approach, it's a new way of thinking. It depends also, what I've noticed, it depends also on the theme, on what I'm talking about, or what I'm sharing with you, that kind of organically dictates the place I'm going to be in. So when we come to a place like this, where no man touched, let's put it this way, no buildings, going to the desert, vastness of creativity, vastness of possibilities. When we go to these places, we're able to come back to our center, we're able to come back to our pillar of light, if you will. The pillar of light. We're able to come here and to discover what is it that we're missing, what it is that we've missed seeing, what we've missed noticing, especially also in relationships. And many times when we are distracted, or when we are in a place of chaos, like up until the Lion's Gate, Tisha B'Av, the holiday of love, up until then, things would be in chaos. And after chaos, from within chaos, we can rise, because we are already so oversaturated that we just give in and surrender to what is coming. So when we look at relationships, when we are distracted, the important things kind of trickle away. And the important things, it depends who is that person that we're talking about, but the important things can be between you and the other person. What are you missing seeing in the other person? Maybe that caused you to behave or to act or to talk without any consideration. And you. Have you been distracted from your own self? And when you are distracted from your own self, when we're distracted from our own selves, then we definitely cannot be in line with how to be with others, let alone somebody who is very close to us. So when there are these distractions, it's let's stop, inhale, breathe, and continue. So this portion of the week, Parashat Ekev, starts with the word, and God is talking and telling Moses to tell the people. if you would follow keeping my mitzvot, keeping my recommendations or things that I say or laws, then you will be good. To take away from the issue of punishment, because there are two kind of schools, let's put it this way. There's the school of the fear because of punishment, meaning I'm afraid to do that because if I do that, I will be punished, therefore I'm not going to sway away. That's a fear of punishment. That never lasts. And actually that creates the opposite effect, because when somebody is fearful of somebody, over time obviously there is resentment, and then there is an uprising. Hopefully for that person that is being bullied or being afraid. Yeah, moving again here. And then there is the awe, the awness of God. So there are the two schools. There is I grew up with, the family that I grew up with was based on fear. If you don't do this, right? But then there is the other place of love, the other place of looking at this, looking at how everything is put together, and looking at my relationship to this place. If I would draw on a piece of paper this lake, and I would draw myself, then I would draw myself like a dot, okay? Let's go bigger. If I would draw the city, and then I would want to draw myself, I probably wouldn't see myself, because there's so much to put in. Let's go even bigger. If I draw Earth, or even if I look at Earth in comparison to the sun or to other planets, you see that the vastness of existence, the vastness of creativity is beyond comprehension, And this is the fear, the zealousy. Remember I was talking about one of my videos, jealousy versus zealousy. The zealousy to God, to the creation, to the creator, to the universe comes from awe. It comes from, thank you for putting me here. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to grow and to help others and to get more aligned with myself and more aligned with everything that I wish and desire to do. So when we put everything in proportion, then we can see clearly. So in this portion, he's saying, if you will listen, but here's the thing that is talking about in the Midrash. Here is the thing. God says, if you obey what I say, and you will keep my laws, and you will do this, and you will do this, and you will do this, then you will be good. But he prefaces it with saying, all I've asked is, there's only one thing that I've asked, and it's for you to do this and this. When somebody says that, when somebody tells you something, oh, the only thing I've asked of you, then you think a person is going to tell you one thing. But in reality, there are a slew of things. So what's the deal? Why? I thought God is going to ask me to do one thing. Now you're telling me to do this and this and this and this. There is the same example in Psalms where King David is telling God, "Achat she'alti me'et Hashem." One thing I've asked of God: to be in your house, to be constantly in your presence, and to be indulged, to be able to access the knowledge and the wisdom, and to dwell in your housing, and to feel safe. So you put me under your wings, and that all my enemies I will win and take away all my enemies. So the Midrash is saying that God says to David, what? You said only one thing I ask, and now you're giving me a slew of things. And the Midrash says that King David told God, I learned this from you. Here's an example of the portion of today. The portion of today that you ask the people to do one thing, but you gave them a slew of things. So what is this all about? What it is about knowing and asking the things that encompass everything, the main things. Because if I am in the presence of God, or am I in the presence of creation, then I'm able to receive everything else. If I'm focusing on the main points, those points are umbrella for everything else to trickle down and to take care of everything that I want. There are three things sages are saying that the world stands on. La Torah, the Torah, on the understanding of creation, on being connected to the creation. Ala Avodah, on the work. And at that time, Avodah was working in the temple, but it's prayer, meditation. And Al Gemilut Chasadim, and on doing goodness and kindness to your person, to your other person, to the person in front of you, to your neighbor, to your gardener, right? Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love thy neighbor like you love yourself. Meaning, love to your neighbor. Wish and hope for love and for everything that is good that you want for yourself to your neighbor. So those are the three things. And why these three things? Because if I'm aware of creation, if I'm being kind not just to humans but to animals who were here before me, if I am in awe of this creation, if I am looking for goodness, from kindness, loving the person, maybe not what they're doing, but loving the person, praying, meditating, connecting, and there are slew of things that can be done to come to this meditative place. Could be through sound, it could be through meditation, it could be through plant medicine, it could be through dreaming, it could be through so many things that can bring us closer to the creation and to exalt and to be in awe of what is happening. So when we are connected to those three things, not necessarily three things, but to those to the issues, to the important issues, to the core issues of any issue, then we can navigate everything else. It's like when we are looking at our thoughts and our intention. What is our intention to do something? What is our intention to say something to somebody, right? And when we are connected to the intention, when we are connected to our pure intention, to the authentic intention, and when I say authentic, it can be a little bit tricky because authenticity can change. When I'm saying I'm authentic to myself today, I could have said 20 years ago that I'm authentic to myself, and I think I probably did 20 years ago. You could be authentic to yourself 5 years ago. Tomorrow, you will have a new revelation, a new understanding, a new peeling of the layer of yourself, peeling of our layers. It is not about learning more in this lifetime or in this time. It is about unlearning. It is about unlearning what brought us here today. Because if you think about it, why we're here today? We're here today because of all the things that we've done, said, thought, predicted, fulfilled, ran after, sought after. All these filters, all the stories that we were told, all what we were born into, to the belief that this is how something has to be. If not, you're going to be like this or you're going to be like that. How many times were you told that when you wanted to do something new, out of the box, courageous, jumping out, that you wanted to do that and you felt really good about that. And then somebody just came and just, no, don't worry about that. You need this and this, and forget it. You won't do it. You won't amount to anything. You're not as good, right? Many of us heard that. Many of us endured that. Many of us took it into our system, into our human existence, and we soldered it. It's like soldering it into our motherboard, because originally it wasn't there, but we had to solder it. I hope I'm using the right word. Soldering it into the already existing motherboard, but it's not really ours. It's somebody else's. We made it ours. We made ourselves believe that this is us. So this is also a time where Moses is talking to the people and saying, he's talking to the people also as a collective of people, how to be a leading group, how to be a leading, not just in the family, but also in culture, as a society. And we're talking about three things that make a society strong, lasting. First of all, remember where you come from. remembering where we come from. The second thing is, don't forget the poor. Don't neglect the poor. Don't neglect those who need help. Don't neglect those who don't have the capacity or capability to be in this abundant place that you're in. And the third one is to remember that God is God. And everything is because God created it, and not because of my might, and not because of me. You know, when somebody gives me a compliment about something that I didn't have to do anything about this is how I came, this is how I came out, this is how I sound like. I didn't work to do this or to buy this voice or to create this hair or to create this hair. I say thank God and thank you. So I want to recognize that first, to practice, continue practice that it is not my might that brought me here. Because if I will go in the world and believe that my might, it is my might, my, man, that's a heavy burden. That's a heavy burden to put on our shoulders. No wonder there are a lot of things that are happening to people who are going, this is me. Because there is so much weight to put the entire world's weight on my shoulder. No. I do what I can, I do my best to get and to do what I can, and the rest is here. I have these cards, I'm holding these cards. I call these intention cards. And these cards are really to poke us, to poke the one who receives the question, to poke the one who receives the question, to receive the card. And the cards are presenting possible and a different outcome, or a different way of looking at things. And if we will change the way we look at things, or why we look at certain thing in a certain way, then the outcome will be different, right? So I'm going to try and see which card is going to be the card that will be picked up. Say stop. Okay, there we go. What? I don't know if you can see it. No, it's reversed. It's mirrored. It says, "What am I attracted to? What am I attracted to?" Now, this is a question, right? So how does that relate? Well, let's find out. First of all, we can answer a question straight as a question, right? There are, like in the Torah, there are 4 levels. There's the story, there is the hint, there is the deep understanding, the digging, the diving, and then there is the mystic. There is the mystical. There is the And so, let's put those in the wrong way. What am I attracted to? So the question is it a what? If we look at a what as a subject of what we're attracted to, it could be a person, but it could be also a trait. It could be also an action. It could be also a certain environment. It could be certain people, certain group of people. And each one of these points that I brought up have a valid reason and a lesson on how to be. If I'm attracted to a certain group of people, and that group of people are not really good for me. Why? Because when I go there, I don't feel that I can be myself. I don't feel that I can express myself without being judged. So the question is, why am I attracted to that? So I see this question, like many other of the questions, as a multi-layered question. It is, what am I attracted to? And once I identify what I'm attracted to, why am I attracted to that thing? Why am I attracted to a certain to a certain group of people? Especially if I don't feel that great around them, especially if I feel that I'm being judged, still going to this group of people, be around them. Why? Because we want to be accepted. But what place do I inhabit within myself that I constantly seek to go to that person? Sometimes our overzealousy to serve and to be liked is actually coming from a place of wound. could come from a place of wound where, if you look at a child, for example, a child says, "Oh, I don't feel like doing like this, and I don't want to wear these pants, so I cut them. So I don't like the pants; they're too long, so I cut them." And the parent says, "Look what have you done? I spent so much money on this, and you cut the pants. I got you. I can't get you any more pants." I don't know how I came with the idea of the pants, but this is valid. So what happened? The parent turned it on them. The parent took the issue of the kid, of the child, and turned it on them. I remember when I was a child, I'm being completely raw here and open. When I was a child, I had an axis of ticking in the eyes and in the head and in the body. I had access to that. And aside from the fact that I would feel about it, I was reminded that I should continue to feel about it. Right? So I would go to I remember a certain family event. I was, I think, 7, something like that, 8. And one of the family members came to me from across the room. There were a bunch of people. It was boring for me, but it was a bunch of people. There were a bunch of adults, and they came. One of them came to me and told me, supposedly as if he's trying to be nice and not to embarrass me in front of everybody. And he's telling me, "Hey, Ilan, why are you doing all these faces? You know it is not nice to us. You know we feel offended that you are doing these faces. You know my wife is looking and she thinks that you are doing to her the faces. I mean, don't you have any shame?" Now, this is a perfect example of how an adult will not listen to what a child is saying and will internalize it about them. Now, it doesn't have to be also between an adult and a child. It could be between two adults. Somebody is saying something, we're having a conversation, not with a fly. We're having a conversation, and somebody is saying something, being raw, being open, and the other person, instead of being with that person, holding space for that person, and being in that communication mode about what the person shared, the other person right away goes to something that it reminds them of them and how they handled it and what they did. And soon enough, the person who was raw and shared something from their heart did not get acknowledged for what they said, did not get acknowledged for what they felt, for being raw, but the other person took it right away and span off on their experience and what they're doing and how theirs is wonderful and so forth and so forth. Right? So that comes from somebody who never was listened to, because I don't believe that many people want to specifically cause pain to somebody else. Many times we get hurt, or many times we're not aware of that. Right? So this is an example of be compassion, show kindness, listen to the other person. The compassion and the kindness is the tool that will eradicate the oppression that is happening here today in this world, with everything that is happening. But those who are continuing the oppression and are perpetuating the oppression, the way to perpetuate the oppression is to continue and create separation and create fear and create isolation and keep people in survival mode. Because when you are in survival mode, you are not here to enjoy this. Because you are in the survival mode of the building. I have to do this, I have to do this so I can survive here, so I can do this, so I can do this. And many times, many people don't get out of survival mode. And so this is our time, this is our power, this is our coming together. So when we focus on the important things, like we're talking now, right? About what is happening in the world with the Coronic era and the shots and the 5G and unbelievable, you know. But when we focus on the important questions, for example, what I'm attracted to, I'm focusing on the important question of why I'm attracted. What place am I inhabiting within myself that I'm attracted to something or somebody or a certain behavior? I could be attracted to a certain behavior and continue this behavior because I think that this is how it's supposed to be, because this is how where I come from. That is so. This question is what am I attracted today? Sometimes sometimes we're attracted to the things that are not crucial, that are the branch on the tree rather than the tree itself, because we get distracted. So if we look at today, at this Coronic era, at this how not to lead people, we're living in a time where every government and their employers are how not to lead people, because this is leading from fear, not from awe of God and creation of God. We are in times where the leadership is anything but leadership. It's like a cacophony in music. It's creating this cacophony, this chaos. So in these times, what is the question to ask? I'll give you this last scenario and then this will wrap it up. Yeah. If we take a jar and we put red ants and blue ants and black ants together, close the jar, nothing happens. The ants go on top of one another. They're cohabitating. Now let's take the jar and we shake it violently and then pour the ants on the table. You know what will happen? The red ants will try and kill the black ants, and the black ants will try to kill the red ants, because each side thinks that they're the enemy. But nobody stops to think who shook the jar and why. Who shook the jar and why? That is an important question. Not, did you do this? Why did you step on my leg? You stepped on my leg before when the jar was flipped over, and now I'm going to kill you because you are the enemy. Instead of asking, this is the same thing that is happening here. Instead of blindly and sheeply following what we're being told, we're being commanded, we're being asked by God, by the universe, every single time, every single day. Be critical, ask questions, feel, how do you feel? And the feeling of how you feel when you make a choice, how you feel when you're answering a question, how you feel when you're being asked a question, and who is asking the question. That is your guide. So feel. It is about feeling. It is about coming to this place of feeling the right place, of, yes, new beginnings are here. It is scary because we are used to be in a certain comfort zone, comfort and a certain way of being. Doesn't matter if it is comfort or non-comfort, but many times when we are in one place for too long, we can start focusing on the branch than focusing on the tree. Focus on the tree. Tree is love. You are love. I love you, each one of you, and thank you for being here and coming every day to show your light and to show your blessings. Shabbat Shalom.